Ben, you are on the line. Ben from South Carolina. You're on the line with Promise and Jimmy.
Hey, how's it going?
It's just fine, Ben. Give it to us.
Hopefully,
hey, Ben. Wait. Hey, Ben. What? Okay, go ahead.
Yep. Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say.
Wait. Okay, wait. No. Hang on. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Amazing.
Yeah. Are you wondering what's happening here? I'm wondering. Are you feeling respected right now as I'm interrupting you?
So I was going to preface.
Hang on, Ben. I'm just making a point to you, Ben. I am going to actually let you talk now. I understand that you are calling in to explain to me that I should have engaged in good faith with a caller, even after the caller had switched completely to bad faith. And now, go ahead and make that point.
Sure. So I was going to preface with saying that the audio quality on the end of like the audio coming to me, it's actually not amazing. So like if I do interrupt or just keep talking, even when you're saying something, that isn't my intention.
Well, luckily we've already established you can hear when I interrupt you, so we're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm listening intently. Yeah, my issue wasn't necessarily that like if he interrupted you, then you should be able to put your foot down and say like, whoa, look, you gotta not interrupt me, bro. The issue was more of the like insistence or the way that you're insisting on, look, I am right with like full confidence. And the insistence on using derogatories or insults to characterize someone who thinks otherwise. Now, like, it is 100% fair to be insistent on your view, especially if you know that you have the better evidence on your side. The issue is, like, you said just a bit later after that the whole point of the show is to look towards next election and see, look, we got to change people's minds here. We got to affect the next election. In my view, and in the view of many people at this point, the whole reason that Trump enjoys any semblance of support over and above like 30% of the populace is because of a wave of resentment towards, people who are inclined to pretty much just call people who disagree with them dumb or stupid. Now, you can think that that's a very shallow way of viewing things or a very tribal way of viewing things. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But that does make it such that that way of engaging with people plays entirely into their perception of the way things are. So it's not that it's a tone police. It's like I'm not.
No,
not tone police.
Yes, you are, Ben.
Here.
Ben, actually, yes, you are. Look. I everything else you've said so far, I don't care. It's your opinion thing. If somebody's going to go bad faith, I'm going to go. In this point, I don't give a shit, and I'm going to react in the way that I'm going to feel the most cathartic, because changing people's minds doesn't necessarily mean changing the mind of the person on the phone, especially when they are engaging in bad faith. But Ben, if you're going to sit here and you're going to do that whole fucking lecture, and I just sat through the whole thing and let you do it uninterrupted, don't fucking lie at the end and say you aren't tone policing. Own that that's what you're doing. I'll tone police people. I don't fucking care if I feel like it. Just say that it is what you are doing. Don't give me that fucking... So it's not tone policing. I'm just telling you that I think your tone was wrong and that you should do better, and that I think I know the way to do it better. And Ben, I hope you do know the way to do it better. I think if you do know the way to do it better, go do it, and you will probably experience what everybody else here at this network has done, which has essentially been... There are many people at this network with a variety of approaches to it. And you know what I did? I went and I fucking hired them, because my approach is different from Promise's. It's different from Seth's. It's different from Matt's. It's different from Aaron's. It's different from Alyssa's. It's different from Forrest's. It's not that different from Forrest, but the other people, we're all pretty different.
A little similar to, yeah. Even Alyssa and I have really different ways of doing things, which I love. It makes the show more interesting. We ask different questions. We approach conversations differently. One of us is more down to take certain calls. The other wants to take this other kind. So, I don't have to agree with how my co-host runs the show or how they carry themselves.
She doesn't. She hates me.
I get to just show up and be myself and do my thing how I do it. That's why I appreciate that Jimmy has all of us with our different ways and doesn't tell us how to do our job. He just says, I think you'd be good at this job. Here you go. And which is crazy and maybe stupid of him, but here we all are. And so I think that's what those of us on the line do have in common, is that we respect that we have these differences. I mean, you'll hear different ones of us even on the show be like, I wouldn't do that way. I wouldn't do it this way, if we have that relationship with that person. And some of us don't. We just sit back and we're like, yeah, think to ourselves, I wouldn't do it that way. Or that's exactly how I want to do things, and I'm going to learn from it and change and do that one day. But we don't tell each other how to do it. We don't say we need to make a rule where no one can hang up in the middle of somebody's sentence, or nobody can say this or that. We do things in our style, and some people, well, you'll see the comments will be split 50-50. That was brilliant. I loved how Promise handled that call. Amazing. Alyssa needs to be more like that. And literally for the same call, you'll see, God, I can't stand Promise. The way she did that, that was awful. Alyssa should have handled that entire call. So that shows why all of our different voices and our different tactics and methods and personalities that come out, because we're also humans on the other side of this, why they're needed. Sorry, Jimmy. I feel like I just mansplained your situation for you.
You did. So. How dare you? You fucking bigot. Ben, also, I mean, at the end of the day, if you had called in, and this would be the difference between, I suspect, myself and somebody like Brian, and maybe I'll talk to Brian next time, and we'll see if he can do better with, apparently, I guess his problem was being talked down to a little bit. And in fairness, if you called in and said, hey, Jimmy, well, first of all, I don't know if I would, we don't really take these lecture calls that often, but this one felt fun. You should have slowed down and made sure you actually understood his point, because you clearly reacted to the wrong point, what you thought he was saying. And I would have been like, yep, that is what I did wrong. But as soon as he started interrupting me 3 or 4 times, I think it was in a row, I was done, because I don't fucking care at that point. And when you're jumping there and you're declaring your own victory and shit, it's like, all right, go enjoy your victory elsewhere. If that's what you think just happened here, at the end of the day, the original point was stupid. But the point where he got hung up on was when he would not let me talk. Multiple sentences in a row, much like Ben at the beginning of the sentence. Now, I do think it is very funny that you think, if we're just nice, we'll win over the Trump supporters. Because then I'd ask you to explain to me how Trump won. How Elon, who literally this week called somebody on Twitter, just a random guy, the R word, which I'm mostly not repeating. I think I'm allowed to repeat it, because considering I'm R word, but I'm autistic, is the joke. Anyway, literally calls somebody, we'll say redacted, on Twitter this week. The most powerful man with the most institutional and financial power in the world right now, just subjecting a person to the absolute pile-on and bullying of all of his fan base, and just talking down to this guy for making a joke that actually he was right about. Because the guy basically, it was a tech term, basically said something along the lines of, today I found out that Elon's never heard of SQL, and he goes, this R word thinks that the government runs on SQL, which it does in many places. So anyway, I think it's hilarious, the idea of, like, if anything, I think that we need to grow balls and ovaries and shit and start calling shit out in a better way that is right, that you can actually back up. But I'm not positive all of the fucking lectures, all the fucking tone policing, I think that's the stuff people were the most frustrated by, of the, like, so what you're telling me is, even if I'm trying to be good, if I'm not perfect, you don't want me. So fine, I'll go give the vote to the people who are like, we'll fucking take Blair White, even as we, like, get rid of her fucking rights as soon as we get elected, but we'll welcome her into the fold, even though she's everything we find repulsive and hate. We'll welcome in, women who want to speak, even though as we take their rights away, we'll be welcoming. But I think that's the fucking difference between us. And I don't think it has a thing to do with, you were mean to fascists. You were really mean to them. And that's what pushed them away in masses, as opposed to the very kind Republican Party.
Sure. Yeah. So let me try and make sure I got all your points there so I can respond to them. So the first one would be that, like, I was being dishonest by saying that I'm not tone policing when the perception is that I am.
I'm just saying, own it. I think I'm not worried that you're lying. I think you might be lying to yourself, maybe, but just fucking own it. It's exactly what you're doing.
Right. That it's an inconsistency in what I'm saying. Am I correct?
Sure. It's not a big important point to me. I'm just saying, fucking, if you're going to sit there and literally give a 2-minute lecture of tone policing, maybe end it with like, look, I know nobody likes being tone policed, but I think it's whatever. Fucking just own that it's what you're doing.
Sure. Right. Okay. So, first of all, I should have been more clear. You're correct that in some sense this is tone policing. I meant to say that this is, I want to clarify that I'm not merely tone policing. This is not mere tone policing. That it has substantive effects that I think are important. So in that sense, apologize for not being clear.
Sure.
I take your point that even if we're doing a kind of tone policing that we think is really effective or is important, that we need to qualify that this is not, some sort of perfection gatekeeping. That we're not purity testing, because you are correct. I think that the kind of purity testing in leftist circles does get a lot of laughs from conservatives, and this is fuel for their fire, or what have you. I want to make it clear that when I say that it's not mere tone policing, I also follow this up by saying that good faith argumentation or not being overly confident in your views, even if in some sense this is somewhat performative just because it's on a platform, whatever, that good critical thought does require good faith engagement with interlocutors, even those that, tick you off or do things, whatever.
I don't think so. I don't agree.
Why?
I don't agree that when you're having lots of conversations, you have to be consistently polite and good faith and maintain the same level of good faith. Because while shutting somebody down and shutting them up and ending the call, as an argument style is not actually bad faith. It's actually just terminating the thing. It's just kind of mean. Sure. And I meant to be mean. And I'm not going to sit there and play an unequal game. I kind of threaded it about it this week. I'm really fucking tired of this whole, like, I can go and give a soliloquy, a lengthy, like, here is why we are correct with all the studies and the sightings and everything. And then the other side gets to go, yeah, but you're fucking gay. And then they win. Like, that's the whole fucking thing. And so if they're going to resort to that, as long as they want to be battling and having battling soliloquies, I'll soliloquize all up and down their assholes. But until in the short term, I literally just did that to see if Promise was paying attention, to see if she laughed. Anyway, in the meantime, if a person resorts to bad faith, I don't give a fuck. If you're going to just sit there and I'm not even necessarily saying I want to use the term bad faith for the constant interruption. I don't know what term I want to use. If you're going to be a rude little bitch, I'm a bitchier bitch. And I'm going to let that side out of me. And I'm not going to just hold back on, like, yes, let's just model for everybody, letting somebody be a total shitbag, and maybe we'll just get through to them. It just, like, to me strikes as such. I'm not trying to accuse you of some, like, really shitty sexist shit, but it just strikes me as that, like, where you, like, hear fucking people talk about how their mother gave them the advice when they were being abused to just, like, kill them with kindness, and maybe you'll be able to convince. If that was fucking like the transformed wife's advice to people back in the day, like, when a person's being terrible and abusive to you, just, like, remind them of your Christiness and sweetness and see if you can sweeten them back into. There's no fucking function to it at that point. So end the call them a dumb bitch motherfucker and move on with your day. You'll feel better. I'll feel. I won't feel better till I pee. I've needed to pee for a while, but
sure. No, I understand that. And to be clear, like, and
I mean, this is your last point, by the way. I'm so tired of talking about tone now. So just give your last soliloquy, and then let's move on.
Sure. So, to be clear, sorry, that just completely threw me off for some reason. Oh, the double standard. To be clear, like, what's happening right now with the government is like a coup. It's like really horrible shit's going on, right? And I do not want to say, like, oh, this just means you need to lay down and not fight. Like, to be clear, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm making a particular point about the way that we cannot let the way that we fight compromise our ability to think critically. And so if you want to like say, look, you've interrupted me, you're a bitch, good night, goodbye, whatever, great, amazing. That's not what I heard. I heard, you're wrong on this, you're wrong on this, you're stupid because you're wrong on this, you're wrong on this because you're stupid, like this, and then hang up. And so those are very different, and they're substantively different. And
yeah, Ben, I don't know what to tell you though, because I'm very aware, and I made the point right after that I lost my desire to continue the conversation and hang up because of the interrupting. Was actually continuing and trying to make a point and couldn't get him to, even after saying stop interrupting me, he then switched to you're a bad guy, bro. So I switched to and you're a bitch. So Ben, I don't really care what you think you heard. You can go back and listen and assess it again, but we're not going to sit here and go the difference of opinion on whether or not I know what I felt, and I know what actually pissed me off, and I wasn't feeling defensive about the shit he was saying I was defensive about. I know the thing that pissed me off is he started interrupting me and wouldn't stop, and once told he was interrupting me, didn't stop then either, which by the way had already happened earlier in the call, and he was given the opportunity to pay attention to that. So Ben, I don't really care what you think you heard. You were wrong because you're saying based on what I heard, the intentions inside of me, what's in my heart, and you fucking wrong. So go tone police elsewhere, Ben, or go do it better, and we'll hire you when you prove you can.
Question, did I claim that?
Okay, sure, Ben. What the fuck is the point of the call if the thing that you're saying, yes, by the way, you did make claims. I don't know what the word that means there, that we're going to be very pedantic, but you said based on what I heard, it wasn't what you said you felt. It seemed more like this. So yeah, you kind of did claim it, Ben, but we can sit here and now take the conversation down to the most pedantic form of I'm calling in to make a point, but as soon as I'm shown to be wrong, I'm going to do a level of like, but that's not the point but is that precisely what I said? No, Ben, you're right. And you're going to make the best show in the fucking world. You won't even be able to, you won't let me hire you when you do, because I won't be able to afford you. You're going to do it so much fucking better than me. Ben, have a good night. Say goodbye. Otherwise you're going to feel very self-righteous about the fact that I hung up on you.
Sure. Have a good one.
Did I actually say that the point that I just made was the point I was making? Fucking Christ. Was I overreacting? Please tone police me if you think I need it. Promise.
Me?
Yeah.
You want me to tone police you? No.
Yeah.
That's why I love this show, is because I don't have to be responsible for the person next to me and how they handle things and what they do. Because obviously if you start saying like some Nazi shit, then I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm taking over your channel now.
Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Did you know we saw what you were doing when you watched it?
You saw all of it. All of it. All of it.
All of it. So you're going to want to pay us hush money over at patreon.com/calltheline, where you can buy our silence and watch our patron exclusive podcast.